Right, this is our last lesson for the term, so well done for getting through as much as you have. You've learned to hang up a lot of stuff over this first term. We've learned all about chords, picking and scales and strumming and counting and tabs and all that sort of stuff. So we've learned to hang up a lot. We've learned the basic sort of principles of playing the guitar that we need to know for now. What we're going to do in this last lesson is we're going to prepare for the next term. The next term I want to focus on playing a lot of simple songs so that you can start building a repertoire and you can start practicing and being able to play stuff. So what we're going to look at this lesson is we're going to look at learning and finishing the basic open chords. There are 14 of those and we are going to learn all of those very sort of briefly, and then we're going to focus and we're going to pick out a number of those chords and we're going to put them into little groups, into a little family of chords. These are chords that you put together that sound good together and they're played in key. We learn about key as well in the next term. So this lesson we're going to learn a whole bunch of chords. I'm just going to give you each chord isolated in its own video, so you can watch the video and you can learn the chord, and then if you need more time then you can go back and you can just keep watching each chord individually, and we're going to go through all of those. And in the group of chords, the family of chords, there's certain chords I'm going to leave out for now, and the reason I'm going to do this is because they're a lot trickier to play. So don't worry about them, don't stress about them. It's just so that you've got them, and with a bit of extra time you'll be able to learn and play those chords. In the next term, when we start looking at different songs and all that sort of stuff, then we'll get a closer look at those chords again. So this is just preparation. It's also during the sort of break, because we're going to break between each terms. It gives you something to sort of practice if you want to, and excellent preparation for next term. So I'm going to do each chord on its own, and then I'm going to put together certain groups of chords. Some of them are just very important to learn, and some of them are just very popular. So we'll learn all of those. Alright, let's get to it. A major. Right, first chord we're going to look at is A major. We've done it before, but we're going to just refresh ourselves with that. First thing we're going to do is first finger is going to go onto our third thickest string, a little bit further back from the fret. Then we take our middle finger and we place that on the third thinnest, and then our ring finger underneath that. You've got to squeeze it right nice and close underneath this middle finger, and that's going onto our second thinnest string, and that is our A major. You've got the X on the side, so on your thickest string you're not playing that string, you're strumming from second thickest down, like that. And you're just going to practice playing this chord until you can get it nice and sort of smooth sounding without any buzzes or dead notes or anything like that. So you take your hand away, first finger on your third thickest, and then you just take your middle finger and you put it underneath on the next string, ring finger underneath on the next string, and you've got your A major. Take your hands away, skip the top two strings, and your first finger goes down, middle finger and third finger, all in the same fret, that's in the second fret. Take your hand away, make sure you use the very tips of your fingers. First finger, second finger and third finger, all in the second fret, one under the next. And that is your A major. A minor. What we're going to do for A minor is we're going to take our second finger, our middle finger, and we're going to put it on our fourth thickest string. It's going to go here. Then we take our ring finger and we put it just underneath on the second fret as well. So it looks like our A2, we're just using our middle fingers instead of our first two fingers. It's also very much like the A major. So we've just learnt our A major. We're using these two notes, but we're not using our first finger. We're using our middle finger and our ring finger. So they're on the middle two strings in the second box like that. So we take our hands away and we put our middle finger on the fourth string and our ring finger just underneath it on the third thinnest string, like that. Then once we've got that, we're going to take our first finger and we're going to not put it on the thinnest, we're going to put it on the second thinnest string in the first fret, like that. Now you need to make sure your fingers are nice and arched and using the tips of your fingers. Right, so take your hands away. These two middle fingers can come down sort of at the same time, and they go onto the middle two strings in the second fret like that. So there's two open above and two open below. Middle two strings. Then we take our first finger, not on the thinnest string, on the second thinnest string at the first fret, and we make sure we push our wrist forward and we hold that chord just like that. It's going to sound like this. Again, you're not playing the thickest string, you're strumming from the second thickest down. Alright, let's take our hands away. Middle two fingers, middle finger and ring finger on the middle two strings at the second fret. Then first finger on the second thinnest first fret. Then we push our wrist forward a bit, make sure it's nice and arched. It'll feel like you've got to push this nice and tight to sound the notes, which you do in the beginning. But you just practice it enough and your fingers will get a lot stronger and you'll build muscle memory. Alright, let's do that one more time. Middle finger and ring finger on the middle two strings at the second fret using the tips of your finger. First finger goes onto your second thinnest at the first fret, and you're not playing your thickest string, you're playing from second thickest down. So let's give that a go. C major. We're going to take a look at the chord C major now. We're going to use our ring finger at the third fret on the second thickest string. Then we're going to take our middle finger, we're going to go to the second fret on our third thickest string. So it's like our C that we've done originally, much earlier on in the course. Like that, but we're using these two fingers. Ring finger on your third fret, one string down, second thickest. Middle finger, second fret on the third thickest string. And then our first finger is not going to be on the thinnest, it's going to be on the second thinnest string at the first fret. And we aren't going to be playing our thickest string for this, we're going to be playing from our second thickest down. Like that. Let's do it again. Take your hands away. Ring finger, third fret, one string down, second thickest. Middle finger, second fret, two strings down on your third thickest. And then first finger, not on your thinnest, on your second thinnest at the first fret. So it's a bit of a stretch. Watch your fingers are sort of spread across nicely so that they're all at the top of the frets, like that. And that is our C major. Right, let's do it again. Ring finger, third fret, one string down on your second thickest. Second finger, second fret on the third thickest string. And first finger, not on your thinnest, on your second thinnest at the first fret. like that. And we're not playing the thickest string, we're playing from the second down. And that is your C major. D major. Right, the D major, we're going to take our ring finger and we're going to put it on our second thinnest string at the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a finger on each side of this ring finger. So we're going to take our second finger and we're going to put it onto our thinnest string at the 2nd fret. Then we're going to take our first finger and put it on the 3rd thinnest string at the 2nd fret. So what we've got is we've got our ring finger over here with a finger on the thinner side, that's this finger here, and from our ring finger we're going to have our first finger on the thicker side of this finger. So we're on the bottom 3 strings, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, like that. Let's take our hands away. Ring finger on the 2nd thinnest string at the 3rd fret. Then what we want to do is we kind of want to put these 2 fingers on at the same time. We want to put one above it on the 3rd thinnest, and at the same time on the thinnest string at the 2nd fret. So what you've got is on your 3rd thinnest, 2nd fret, then you're skipping a string, and you're on a 2nd fret on your thinnest, with your ring finger in between at your 3rd fret. That is your D. We don't play the top 2 strings, we strum from 4th string down. Now you're going to need time just to get used to that and make sure your fingers are arched, and make sure the more you arch your fingers and push your wrist forward, the less likely you are to be muting other strings with these fingers. Sometimes when this finger is a little bit lazy, it sort of leans over and mutes that string. So we don't want to do that. Alright, so taking your fingers away, ultimately you'll be putting the chord down at the same time like that, which you will be doing with all of the chords. But for now, let's put our ring finger down on the 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. Then we can place our second finger on the 2nd fret on the thinnest, and first finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd thinnest. So it's a sort of upside down triangle. If you think about the triangle on the B7 we played in 12 bar blues, which was up here, we created that little triangle. Now we're doing very much the same, but the base of it is that side and it points this way. So we've got ring finger, 2nd and 1st on either side of the ring finger. Like that. So it's the bottom 3 strings we're holding. And we're playing the bottom 4 strings. Right, so let's take a look at that chord one more time very slowly. Ring finger, 2nd thinnest string at the 3rd fret, and then either 2 fingers on either side of that. One on the thinnest at the 2nd fret, and one on the 3rd thinnest at the 2nd fret. That is our D major. D minor. Right, the D minor is a bit of a tricky chord because we tend to get it confused with the D major and our fingers get a little bit sort of muddled up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through very slowly. We've got, as we did with the D major, we've got our ring finger on the 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. Now, our fingers for the D major are going like this. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take our middle finger for the D minor and put it on top on the third thinnest string at the second fret, where our first finger was. Then our first finger is coming onto the thinnest string at the first fret. And again, like with the D major, we're playing the bottom 4 strings. So don't play the top 2 thickest strings, make sure you're only playing from the 4th string down. So the D minor and the D major sound very similar, except for one note. And that's this note here. Alright, so the first thing is we're going to get a little bit confused with the D major and the D minor in the beginning, and that's alright. So just make sure you go through very slowly this D minor exercise. So ring finger at the 3rd fret, middle finger on the 2nd fret, one above it at the 3rd thinnest string, which leaves our first finger open to go onto the thinnest string at the 1st fret. And that feels like a bit of a stretch for now, but your fingers will get used to it and they'll develop with a bit of time. Take your fingers away. You've got your ring finger, 2nd thinnest string, then our middle finger, 2nd fret at the 3rd thinnest string, and then our first finger on the thinnest string at the 1st fret. Let's take our hands away and do that one more time very slowly. Ring finger on the 2nd thinnest string at the 3rd fret, 2nd finger at the 2nd fret on the 3rd thinnest string, one above that. And our first finger on the thinnest string at the 1st fret. And we are playing from the D down, so not the top 2 thickest strings. We don't strum or pick those. And that is a D minor. E major. Right, we've played the E major before in the 12-bar blues, so we're just going to look at this very briefly. 2nd finger at the 2nd fret, one string down, your 2nd thickest. Ring finger right underneath that at the 2nd fret on the 3rd thickest string, so it creates that E minor shape, but with these 2 fingers. And then your first finger, not on your thinnest, not on your 2nd thinnest, but on your 3rd thinnest string, and that is your E major. E minor, very first chord we ever learned, so we're really not going to need to spend much time on it. First finger, 2nd fret on your 2nd thickest, 2nd finger, 2nd fret right underneath it on your 3rd thickest string, and it's all of the strings that we play. And that is your E minor. F major. Right, the F major, we need to take our ring finger and put it at the 3rd fret, but not on the top 2 strings, the 3rd thickest string. Then we're going to take our 2nd finger and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret, one string lower, on the 3rd thinnest. And then our first finger needs to play 2 strings. Needs to play our 2nd thinnest and our thinnest at the 1st fret. So you're going to put it on the 1st fret on your 2nd thinnest string, but then you're just going to let it bend like we're never supposed to do. Our fingers are always supposed to be arched. This one is just going to straighten like that, so it's not bent, it's straight, like that. And what it'll do is it'll play your second thinnest, and it'll play your thinnest, like that. So that's quite a difficult chord to stretch to, so we need to give that lots of time. And we're not playing the two thickest strings. So let's take our hands away. Ring finger, third fret on your third thickest. Then what you can do is you can just bring this wrist this way a little bit. So instead of it facing forward like that, just let it hold it naturally, comfortably, sort of like that, more towards this way. Okay, so instead of out, bring it across a bit. And that will help with that first finger. So ring finger, third fret. Then we're just going down a string to the second fret on the third thickest string with our middle finger. And then this finger goes down again to the second thinnest at the first fret, and then it just sort of flattens out like that. It's a very tricky chord, so give this one lots of time. And we're strumming from not the two thickest, the third thickest down. That's what it sounds like. It's quite a tricky one to get. Take your hands away. Third finger on your third fret, not the top two, the third thickest. Then the next string down, the third thickest, the second fret, third thinnest, sorry, the second fret. And then first finger on the second thinnest string at the first fret. You can, for now, if you'd like to, not flatten that out. You can just leave it with those three fingers and leave that bottom thin string open. That is not the F major, but you can do it for now just to practice preparing for the F major, because these are all just preparation chords for the next term. So with a bit of time, let this finger just sink down like that, and that'll be your F major. Let's do it one more time, the F major. Ring finger on the third thickest string at the third fret. Middle finger, the second fret, one string lower, that's on your third thinnest. And then first finger, not on your thinnest, your second thinnest, at the first fret, and then it needs to just sort of straighten and push down quite hard on these two strings, and that will suddenly make the chord feel a little bit strange, and it'll want to pull these fingers off. So you need to practice just pushing nice and tight with that. And that is the F major. G major. Right, we've played the G major in Oasis Wonderwall, so we're going to take another little look at it. You're going to use your ring finger and your pinky together on the two thinnest strings at the third fret. So ring finger on your second thinnest at the third fret, and your pinky, your fourth finger, right underneath it at the third fret. So they're both together like that. Then your second finger comes right up to the top onto the third fret on your thickest string. And then your first finger is on the second fret, not on your thickest, but on your second thickest. You're going to make sure these fingers are nice and arched. And you're playing all of the strings. That's your G major. Right, let's take our hands away. Ring finger, you can actually start with ring finger on your second thinnest at the third fret. Pinky, fourth finger right underneath it, third fret on the thinnest string. Second finger comes right to the top and on your third fret. And then your first finger is on your second fret, second thickest string. And you're playing all of those strings. Let's do that just one more time. What we're going to do is we're going to do it a different way around now. We're going to do second finger on your third thickest string, third fret thickest string. First finger, second fret, on your second thickest. Then we're going to try and put our ring finger down on the 3rd fret, second thinnest string, and our pinky, 3rd fret, thinnest string. Now we've created a G again, except we did it using our fingers the other way around. We started with these fingers this time, and you'll notice the difference, how it seems a little bit, it may seem a little bit trickier to get to, it may seem a little bit easier. Either which way, you'll notice that by putting which way you put your fingers down is going to change the way it feels and how to play your chord. So ultimately we do want to put these fingers down first, because we're usually strumming down first. So if we're strumming down first, we can get these fingers here whilst we start strumming, and then these fingers fill in. You usually want to place the fingers for a chord that are going to be used first, so it's more economical, so that you don't have to do this and then wait for the G to be able to play it. You want to be able to sort of ultimately get to the chord at about the same time with each finger. That does take a bit of practice. Alright, so again, I'd like you to try and work for the G this time with these two fingers first, which was that first G6 we learnt, and then ring finger and pinky or 4th finger in afterwards, like that. So, 2nd finger right at the top, 3rd fret, 1st finger down a string onto your 2nd thickest, 2nd fret, and then your ring finger and your pinky are taking 3rd fret, like that. 2nd thinnest string, and that is your G major. Chord groups and exercises. We're going to take a look in the next few videos, basically some chords played together. Now you get groups of chords and chord families and those sort of things, which are great, but I'm not entirely sold and I'm not the biggest fan. What we want to do is we want to slowly understand and learn about music and keys and the appropriate chords and how to change keys. And now keys are these sort of notes that keep something together and make it sound good. So I'm not too sort of phased about that. However, because we're new at playing the guitar and we want to be able to play some stuff, and there will be certain songs, pop songs or rock songs or whatever type of songs, that will use these chord groups. I'm going to show you a couple of them, and I'm also going to show you a few chord progressions, as it were, of particular songs that are incredibly famous, like we did Oasis Wonderwall. We want to do some Save Tonight, and we want to do some Green Day and those kind of songs. Those use particular chords, and those chords are very popular amongst a lot of bands, so they get used over and over and over, and you'll be able to find with a certain group of chords, you'll be able to play a lot of songs. That's why we're going to take a look at it in the next few videos. It's because I want you to get used to the chords, and that's sort of a fair enough thing to do. So the next few videos, we're just going to be playing a couple of chords together. You can view them as exercises. I'm not going to do too many, I'm just going to do a handful, because once you get kind of used to them, then you'll be ready to tackle different songs and new songs with new chords, and you'll be able to do all that sort of stuff. So the next few videos are going to be a number of exercises and chord groups. A, D, E, and E is the first progression, and we're going to start with the A major. Then what we're going to do is we're going to lift these two fingers up and slide this finger across, the ring finger, so that we can get to our D comfortably. Then once we've done that, we're up to the E major, and then we do the E major again. Then we slide these two fingers down and add in the extra index finger for the A major. We're starting again. Then we're sliding our ring finger across, a finger on each side of that, and we're back at our D. Then we're lifting up, and we're going to the E major again, and the E major. So now we're going to strum that very slowly and count along with our strumming, starting with the A. 1, 2, 3, 4. We slide our finger across, one on each side, and we're at D, 2, 3, 4. Then we're lifting up, and we're going to the E major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go back to the A major. 1, 2, 3, 4. We slide our finger across, one on each side, and we're at D, 2, 3, 4. Then we're lifting up, and we're going to the E major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go back to the A major, the D, the E, and the E. So what you need to do now is just stop the video and practice shifting between those chords, all 4 of them, until you've got them moving nice and quick, and you're changing from chord to chord like that. A, D, E, and E. And once you've practiced that, you can rejoin the video where we're going to play those chords 4 times in a row, all of them, the whole set, without any breaks or stopping. And we're going to use 4 counts for each chord, starting with the A. A, C, F, G, and G is our next progression. So we're going to start off with a C major, then we're going to play and F, then we go to G and G again, C, F, G, G again. Alright, let's try that. 4 strums for each chord, 4 counts. Starting with the C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we drop down to our F, bend our finger, and we play 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're up to the top for our G. 1, again with a G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going back to the C. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're dropping down to the F and we're arching that finger over. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. What you can do now is you can stop the video, refer to your notes for this, and make sure you practice just moving between the 4 chords. So just practice moving between the 4 chords until it speeds up. And once you get comfortable that you can move to the 4 chords, then join back at the video over here, and we are going to play that set of chords 4 times in a row without any stops or breaks. Right, starting with the C. G, again with the G, back to C, F, G, again with the G, and C. D, G, A, A. Right, so we're going to go to the D major, then we're going to move across to the G, then we're moving to the A, and then we're playing the A again. Then we're back to the D, across to the G, and then the A, and A again. You'll notice with the fingering of this position of these chords, you start with the D, so you're using the ring finger. Then when you go across to the G, the ring finger stays there. You add your pinky and the other fingers in. Then when you get to the A, you lift these up and shift this back, ring finger, and you place the A in. So you've left your ring finger doesn't need to leave the guitar for the whole chord group. It can just sort of slide around where it needs to be. You can use it as a marker and reference for the chords. Alright, so D 4 times. 3, 4. Then across to the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then back to the A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're using the ring finger for the D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then sliding back down to the A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so time to stop the video. Make sure you have your notes and just practice changing between chords. So you've got the D, the G, the A, and the A. D, G, A, and A. If you keep this finger firmly on the guitar the whole time, you'll find that the chords start feeling a little bit easier and it doesn't feel like you're moving around that much. It just feels like the changes are quite small. Alright, so once you've practiced those chords on your own, you can rejoin the video here, and we will play all of those chords 4 times in a row with 4 counts for each chord. Starting with the D. G, G, C, D, and D. Right, so we're going to play our G major, then we're going across to our C major, and then down to our D major, and D major again. So back to to G, then to the C, and then to the D, and then the D again. Right, so let's try strumming those chords. G, 2, 3, 4. Then we're changing around to our C, C, 2, 3, 4. Then to our D major, D, with the D, 2, 3, 4, then back up to our G, G, 2, 3, 4, next to our C, C, 2, 3, 4, and then to our D major. Good, and now you need to stop the video, make sure you have your notes for these chords, and you're going to practice just moving between 4 chords, the G, the C, the D, and the D, and you keep practicing that until it goes a lot quicker. Right, so once there's no confusion, then you can rejoin back with the video, and we're going to play all of those chords 4 times in a row, 4 counts without any breaks or pauses. Starting with the G. G, C, again. E, G, D, and D. Right, so we're going to start with an E minor, and we're going to lift up, go across to the G, and add our other fingers in for the G. Then we leave our ring finger where it is. We place a finger on each side of that for the D. And then we're doing D again. Okay, once we've done that, fingers go up back to the E minor, across to the G, ring finger stays where it is, and we're back at the D. Again with the D. Let's strum that together. E, 2, 3, 4, to the G, G, D with our leaving our ring finger where it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up to the E minor. 2, 3, 4. Across to the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leaving our ring finger where it is. 1 on each side for the D. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, now you can stop the video and you can refer to your notes and just practice moving around all 4 chords like that until they get a lot easier. You'll also notice very quickly, like I did, when you play that G wrong. So make sure these fingers are right on the bottom 2 strings. Alright, so practicing those chords over and over, and you can strum them on your own. And then once you've done that and you're comfortable with the chords, you can return to this video, and we're going to play all of those chords 4 times in a row with 4 counts and strums for each chord. Starting with E minor. D minor, F, C, and C. Okay, so we're going to find the D minor. Once we've done that, we lift up these 2 fingers, one on this side of your middle finger and one on this side of your middle finger, and then the first finger just collapses down onto the string, onto both strings. Then you're lifting up these 2 fingers and you're moving them up to the C, so they're just moving up like that, and this first finger is just on the first string, and then you play the C again. Then middle finger down, ring finger and first finger for the D minor. Then we're moving above, below and over for for the F, back up, and these two up for the C, and then you do the C again. So let's try that very slowly. D minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the F, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up to the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, middle finger down, ring below it, first finger right below that, D minor, 2, 3, 4, one above it, one below it, and over for the F, 4, and then up to the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, so now you need to stop the video, refer to your notes, and practice moving between those 4 chords. So you start with your D, and you're going above it, below it with that middle finger, above and below, and then pressing down, and then up to your C. Then you're going back to second finger, ring, and the first for the D minor, above, below, and pressing down on those 2 strings for the F, and then up to your C twice. Alright, so once you've practiced that, and you've done that on your own a number of times, then you can rejoin the video, where we're going to play all of those chords 4 times in a row, with 4 counts and strums per chord. Starting with the D minor. A minor, F, G, and G. Right, so we're going to start with our A minor. Then we're going to lift these fingers up, place them down second and third, and then arch your finger over for the F. Then your fingers lift right up, and you come across to the G, and you fill those fingers in. And then you do a G again. Then you're lifting up your fingers and you're going back to the A minor. Then these fingers are lifting up and they're folding in like that, and then you're bending over that finger for the F. And then you're lifting right up and you're going across to the G and you're filling your fingers in. And then a G again. So let's try that very slowly together, starting with the A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're lifting lifting your fingers up and you're placing them one after the other, and you bend your finger over for the F. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're coming right up across for the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're lifting our fingers up and we're going back to the A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lifting these two up and letting them fold in, and bend the first finger over for the F. And then right across for the G. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good. Now what you're going to do is stop the video, make sure you've got your notes out, and you're going to practice going from A minor to bringing these two fingers up and folding them in and bending your first finger over to the F. And right away across to the G and add these fingers in. And then up, back to the A minor. Lifting these fingers up for the F and then bending over. And then across to the G. And you're going to keep practicing that until you can get it nice and smooth. A, F, G, and G. Just keep practicing that. Then you can strum along and you can practice strumming those chords on your own. And once you've finished that and you're comfortable, you can return to the video at this point. And we're going to play that set of chords 4 times in a row with 4 counts and 4 strums per each chord. Starting with the A minor. 1, F, G, and G, A minor, F, G, Last of the chords. Right, so what we've done now is we've learnt a whole bunch of chords, and then we've used those chords we've learnt in little groups of chords called chord families. So we've learnt the chords and we've practiced playing them together. Now what we've got is we've got a few extra chords that we're going to learn now. These chords we don't need to be able to play, and we don't need to be able to sort of strum and do anything like that. We need to just sort of prepare ourselves even more with these chords, because ultimately we're going to play them. Now I also want to explain that in music you get 7 notes. That's your A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Those are your natural notes. Those are the white notes on the piano. You get sharps and flats, which are your black notes, your black keys on the piano, which we're not going to tackle for a while. So what we've done is we've tackled those notes, we've tackled the white ones, but you get them as majors and minors as well. So if you think about it like this, you've got A to G as a minor and A to G as a major. So we've kind of learnt that sort of, almost seems random, but we haven't. We want to learn all 14. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. That's 7 majors. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, 7 minors. So we want to be able to play 7 basic minor chords and 7 basic major chords. But unfortunately, when it comes to playing guitar, some of those chords are quite tricky. And that's why I've separated them off, and we're going to do them now afterwards. So we've learned some of the easier chords, and we've put them into their little chord groups, and we've practiced sort of strumming along and getting used to those chords. Now we're just going to finish off the last of the chords. It's not by no means the last of the chords on playing the guitar. There are thousands of chords, but they all sort of branch off in their variations of these chords. Your 7 majors and your 7 minors. Those are incredibly important. So the next section is going to be taking you through the last of the chords. There's 5 of them, and they're the trickiest. So don't worry about being able to play them and be able to do them well. It's not the point at all right now. It's preparation. We're not even particularly going to be using them next term, but rather than be left behind, you also, if you start noticing and you start looking at things on the internet and songs, you're going to notice these chords and you're going to go, why haven't I been taught these chords? And the main reason is they're difficult. So that is why we don't tackle them straight away. We want to make sure we're playing comfortably and slowly learning the guitar without being overwhelmed. So the last 5 chords in the next videos are just for you to practice stretching your fingers and getting used to the idea that there are harder chords on playing the guitar, and your hand does start moving up a little bit on the guitar. But again, in the sort of further terms, I'm going to show you sort of particular ideas and concepts that make that seem a lot easier, and exercises to make it a lot easier. But that is a whole separate, different lesson all on its own. So up until now, very good. That's the sort of point that we want to be at. These next 5 chords, just extra additional stuff for you to have a look at so that you don't feel like confused as to why am I not learning these things and all that. They're difficult, so the next 5 chords, very difficult. Just slowly, you can take 6 months to learn these chords, and that's appropriate. So on to the last 5 chords. B major. There are 2 main ways of playing this chord. I'm going to show you what sort of proved to be the easiest way as a sort of generalization. What we're going to do is we're going to use our 3rd finger, and we're just going to put it on the, not the thickest, not the 2nd, the 3rd thickest string. Just going to put it on the string all the way up at the 4th fret, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to let our finger lay flat across the strings like that. Now what we need to do is we need to press down on the 3rd thickest string, and we need to press down on the 3rd thinnest and the 2nd thinnest. So this finger is going to play these 3 strings at the 4th fret. What we need to do now is we need to arch the finger like that, upwards. So we've constantly been practicing where we arch the finger this way. Now we need to arch the finger the other way. So on your 6, 5, 4, on your 3rd thickest, at the 4th fret, you're going to play this string, and this string. 3rd thickest, 3rd thinnest, 2nd thinnest, like that. And you're going to arch your finger up. Now this is the sort of basic way that we're going to play the chord. We're going to leave that there so we're not on the thinnest. It'll sound a bit dead like that for now. And we're going to take this finger, and it's a big stretch. That's why this chord is not going to be included in the family of chords, because it is tricky and it's going to take a long time to practice and learn it. Your fingers need a stretch, and they need to be pushing really tight, and they've got to be quite accurate. So it's a tough chord to learn. So with our little bar over here on the 4th fret, playing these 3 strings, not the thickest, not the 2nd thickest, these 3, and not the thinnest. Push down nice and tight, and we arch it up, like that. So we push our wrist forward and we push down on these 3 strings. We then take our 1st finger and we bar off, all the way on the 2nd fret. This is by far the toughest sort of chord that we'll ever have to really play for now. So that's all we're going to do. I'm not going to bother playing it, I'm not going to bother sounding it. because it's tricky. It's going to sound terrible if you try. That is what it would sound like, but I don't need you to do that. I don't want you to do that because it's tricky. I was going to skip the chord altogether, but we're going to just play it so that you can just practice moving and stretching your fingers and getting them into the right place. We will take a look further, and probably in the third term we'll start using this chord. So that's still a good half a year away. So third finger, ring finger, at your 4th fret, like that. And you're going to play this third thickest, third thinnest, and second thinnest, and not the bottom string. You're going to arch the finger up, like that. Then you're going to take your first finger, and you're not going to touch the top string, you're going to play from the second thickest down. So this finger has to go straight, this finger has to go straight, and there needs to be an arch on that finger here, like that. So that is very tough to play for now, and I don't want you to even strum it or try and play it. You probably will, out of curiosity, you can do that. You're just going to slowly stretch. We will be looking at chords called barred chords, which are these. Stage in the term, and then we'll get tackling onto it and start practicing it. So for now, one more time, ring finger goes to the 4th fret. You're not playing the top 2 thickest, and you're not playing the thinnest. It's these 3 strings here. Finger arched up, then your first finger all the way across the 2nd fret, not playing the top thickest string, and you've got that gap in between here. It's a very tricky chord to play. That is what it's going to look like, and we're not going to attempt what it sounds like for now. B minor. This is another chord that we aren't going to be including in our group of chords, but we're going to learn it anyway. First, we're going to do ring finger. Needs to go onto your 4th string, your 6-5-4, your third thickest string, and it's going up to the 4th fret like in the B major. So that finger right over here, 4th fret, 3rd thickest. Your pinky is going to go right underneath it onto your 3rd thinnest. Those 2 fingers like that. You're then going to take your middle finger and you're going to bring it onto your 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. Like that. And then first finger is doing that horrible bar again. Like that. On the 2nd fret without touching the top thickest string. This is going to be a B minor. Your hand's probably cramping and it's probably hurting already. So don't worry about it. It's not one of the chords we're using for now. Again, it's an exercise for you just to practice getting your fingers into the right sort of spot. So let's take our hands away. We're going to take our ring finger and our pinky, and we're going to kind of put them together on the middle 2 strings. So these 2 strings here, not these 2, not these 2, the middle 2 at the 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here they are. Ring finger and then pinky underneath it. If you're battling, you can literally take your fingers and put them there for now, like that. They're going to be, you can squeeze them together so that they're right next to each other like that. I don't want them sort of apart. You want to keep them together. Then when your fingers are there, you take your middle finger onto the 3rd fret, 2nd thinnest. It's not this, the next string. The 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. And then first finger comes down and it takes all of the 2nd fret except the top string. Like that. You're pushing your wrist forward at all times and you're making sure you use the tips of your fingers and they're nice and arched. And then you've got your bar. This is a B minor. again, you don't need to strum this, you don't need to be able to play this. It's just an exercise to get your fingers used to these chords in probably the third term. So, take your hands away, we're going to do that one last time. Middle ring finger and pinky are going together onto the third thickest and the third thinnest, all the way up at the 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. So ring finger and pinky underneath it. If you battle, put them on the guitar with your other hand and just squeeze them in there together. Middle finger then comes down and it plays your 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. And then once you've got that, this bar comes down and it goes right across the 2nd fret, just not on that top string there. This is a B minor. Again, don't have to play it, you don't have to even be able to hold it right now. If you're having a good laugh and you're going, I'm never going to be able to play the guitar, this is ridiculous. That's quite fine to be at that point at the moment. So every time you sort of want to practice and develop your hands, and before you sort of practice a lesson or something like that, just tackle the few particularly hard chords that we're going to do, and this is one of them, the B major and the B minor. Both of them very tricky to play. So as an exercise, ring finger onto your 3rd thickest, pinky underneath onto your 3rd thinnest at the 4th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold them there. Then your middle finger is coming down onto your 2nd thinnest at the 3rd fret. And then you've got that terrible bar over here. Most people's hands have probably cramped and given up already, which is fine. It's just an exercise for now. That's your B minor, which we only need to ring and play and sound much later. So, great opportunity for you to practice stretching your fingers into the right boxes and the right frets. And that is your B minor. C minor. We're going to look at the C minor now. Again, it's very much like the B minor, except we're doing it all a little bit higher up on the guitar. We're doing 3rd finger on the middle string with the ring finger underneath, so they're both on the middle strings. Now instead of being at the 4th fret, they're going to be at the 5th fret, like that. Then your middle finger comes down onto your 2nd thinnest at the 4th fret, and your 1st finger bars down on the 3rd fret like that. So it's exactly the same as the B minor, except it's a little bit higher on the guitar. Again, this is a chord that we're just going to use as practice. So once you've got your B minor, you practice shifting these along, adding in your 2nd finger on the 2nd thinnest at the 4th fret, and your bar down on the guitar at the 3rd fret, like that. Pushing your wrist forward, making sure your fingers are arched. You're going to play a C minor, just like that. Don't worry about strumming it or sounding it. You just want to use the fingers to stretch and get used to the chord shape. One more time. 3rd finger and 4th finger together on the middle 2 strings up at the 5th fret. You should have a dot over here. So it's right on the dot like that. Not the 2 thickest, not the 2 thinnest, the middle 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the 5th fret. Middle finger comes down onto the 2nd thinnest string in the 4th fret. And then your bar comes down and it plays the 3rd fret, just not on the top string, like that. And that is your C minor. F minor. Right, this is another one of the chords that we don't particularly need to be able to play or anything like that, but we're going to learn it just to help develop the strength and in our hands and get us stretching. What we're going to do is we play an E minor, except we're not going to play these two fingers, we're going to use these two fingers. So we're going to not play on the thickest, we're on the second thickest, and the third thickest with these two fingers. So it's exactly like an E minor, you're just using very different fingers. And we're not going to play it there, we're going to shift them across to the third fret. So again, our ring finger and our pinky on the guitar at the third fret, not on the thickest, one underneath each other like that. And then all we're going to be doing is putting a bar down like that. So another one of the barred chords. That is going to be our F minor. Let's take our hands away. Ring finger, the third fret, one string down on your second thickest, pinky right underneath it on the third thickest string at the third fret, and then our first finger is just going to come down and bar. Again, you don't need to be able to play this, you're just going to practice stretching your fingers like that. So you'll feel a bit of tension in your muscles and your wrist and a bit in your thumb maybe as you practice pushing that nice and hard. And then you just relax your hands, take them away, and we'll do it one more time. The ring finger, the third fret, one string down, and this pinky right underneath it, third fret, third thickest string, like that. You just push your wrist nice and forward and bring that bar down on the first fret. And that is how we are ultimately going to play F minor. G minor. G minor is very much the same as the F minor. We're just going to be shifting it along up a fret. Like we did from the B minor to the C minor, we're also going from the F minor to the G minor by shifting it along the frets. So we're going to play the E minor firstly with these two fingers, the ring finger and the fourth finger, the pinky. So and on your thickest, second thickest, third thickest with your ring and your pinky, you're going to shift it across, and that would create the F minor. Then we shift it across again and again. So now they're up at the fifth fret, and you can just make sure they're nice in that fret. And then this first finger is going to come down and bar off the third fret like that. So third, skipping four, and you can see that E minor shape there with these two fingers. That is your G minor. So we take our hands away and we take our ring finger and we go up to the fifth fret. We drop it down a string to the second thickest. Then our pinky, our fourth finger, we put right underneath on the third thickest at the fifth fret, and then our bar comes down onto the third fret. Let's look at it just one more time. Ring finger at the fifth fret, should be a dot here, all the way up at your fifth, comes down a string to your second thickest, and then pinky underneath at your third thickest string. So they're both in the fifth fret, and then your first finger comes down onto your third and it holds that bar. And that is how to play a G minor. And there we have it. That was lesson 10 of the first term. Today and this week we've had a look at some chords. We've tried to tackle through most of the new open chords on the guitar, and then we've got a few that we've kind of had a look at in preparation for later on in the year, those much harder chords. And then we did some family of chords, some chord groups, and a couple of chord progressions from popular sort of songs. And all of that is just so that you can practice along and you can start changing some chords in preparation for next term, and we're going to learn a lot of cool songs. Alright, and that is also the end of the first term, so very big congratulations for picking up the guitar from scratch, learning to play, and throughout this term we've learned a whole bunch of stuff. We've learned how to pick and strum and do all those things, and we've made it very far. So we get a small break now before the second term. Usually what we do is we don't even bother playing the guitar. We just put the thing down and leave it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we start again. So once you do exactly that, spend another week sort of just going over various lessons and certain parts that you might need to practice a bit more, and then take a break until the next term, where we pick up and we carry on from where we left off. That break is very, very good. You may not think so, but that break, when you don't play your guitar at all, when you come back for some bizarre reason, it just seems a lot simpler. It's probably because you've allowed your mind to sort of clear and come back with a fresh look and a new aspect of playing. So do exactly that. Enjoy the break, and thank you very much for downloading and sort of learning along with the course. If you need to get a hold of us, you can get us on Facebook. It's the Sound of Art Cape Town. You can leave your post, queries and comments and we'll get back to you. And thank you very much again. Until term 2.